Well, hello, Bravites, and welcome to another edition of Movie Reviews with yours truly, Toya. And today I'm not necessarily reviewing a movie, but it is a comedy special on Netflix by Miss Pat. It is called Y'all Want to Hear Something Crazy, and I assure you, you are going to hear some crazy things. Miss Pat is a comedian, and she has been, taking her act across the country, touring for years. She's not as well known yet, but I believe she will get there. She has a new special, like I said, on Netflix that is directed by the one and only Robert Townsend. And she also has a TV show on BET Plus called The Miss Pat Show. And it just came out last year. The special came out on the 8th of February this year, 2022. And so she's got some things on the ball and things are moving along great for her. Tammy Roman is in the show, co-starring as her sister. So there are a lot of great things happening for Miss Pat. I, for one, was very excited to see Robert Townsend actually still doing some directorial work, getting some things out there, some major projects. I would consider this a major project. And just seeing them come together to work towards getting some new comedy out there. I am a comedy buff. My father, Woody Gibson, was a comedian, and there are so many things that I feel like comedians bring to the table that you just can't find with any other genre. They bring a sense of joy, even comfort, so many things. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to talk about the stand-up in a few minutes. But I wanted to start out with how extraordinary comedy is in and of itself. So we've seen so many things from, comedians that maybe rub us the wrong way, that we can't really get with or get behind, support fully, because comedy is so raw. It is so pure. It's such a pure form of expression, artistic expression, that comedians get a lot of flack about how they get their message across, how they think, how dark they can get. Bill Burr is a comedian who sometimes goes really deep and dark, talks a lot about herd immunity, about how there's too many people on the earth. He would like to see them gone by some natural phenomena, and then we got COVID-19, and he said it was like a dream come true. A lot of people are like, how could you say something like that? But again, this form of expression is a completely raw and pure, to the point where it almost supersedes the cancel culture, right? Because comedians are able to do and say whatever on stage and cover it with, it was art. I for one hope, regardless of how deep and dark it gets, that does not go away, because there is always an audience for it that appreciates the purity of the expression, no matter what, angle someone is coming from. He's one. Of course, we know Dave Chappelle is another. He has some work on YouTube, or some documentaries, I guess you could say, or old stand-ups, you could say, on Netflix, that kind of detail his process of thinking when it comes to politics, when it comes to American media. So many different things that you can identify with, where he really discusses how important it is to think things through for yourself. In America, everything is about propaganda. We're told how to think, we're told what to think, but that is a freedom that other countries don't get, right? So sometimes in other countries, if something happens, they're not necessarily communicated with by their government or by the media about what's really going on. So in a way, we're gifted with propaganda, with media, with so many sources coming out and talking about what's going on in our country and in the world, even though it may not always be true, the message that's coming across to us, but we do get that. And you have so many others that talk about the way comedy helps them relieve a deep sense of pain, deep-seated pain that they're not able to deal with any other way. One comedian that does this, as of recently, has really gotten really pure with his expressions, is Tony Baker. Tony Baker is a comedian that's from Chicago. He's somebody that I really love. He has very pure comedy in the way of, it's not dirty, it's family comedy. He, does a lot of cat and dog videos, animal videos where he does voiceovers. Take a look at this.
Shells, man. I want some Purina, some Meow Mix, man. Get this medication. Get this up out of here. I don't know what that was, but I want it out of here. I want a sack of catnip, man. Man, get this mouthwash up out of here.
So I appreciate Tony Baker, just because he's somebody who has really grinded his way from the bottom up. He's still rising up. He's still gaining notoriety, and I love that for him. But unfortunately, last year he got some notoriety on the heels of his son's death. He and 2 friends were killed in a tragic car accident by some drag racers in Burbank. And it was just heartbreaking. It was something that no one could have ever seen coming. If you know Tony Baker, he's all about the Baker boys, his 2 sons, which are from his previous marriage. He's not married now, but they were from his marriage. And he loved his sons. They did sketches together. They did jokes together, comedy together, all kinds of things. And so to see his son lose his life so tragically was so heartbreaking. And, there's been such an outpouring of love on social media for Tony. Even financially, people helped support the families online when they had to bury their children and put them away. So that was beautiful to see. But most recently, Tony has used his comedic platform to speak to the death of his son. And, as Americans, we love to watch a train wreck, right? We want to see how you're feeling, how you're coping, how you're dealing with things, what you're thinking, all of that. And Tony recently took to the stage and talked about his son's death. And he shared a text message with a friend where he talked about how he was terrified on stage. And that, it was really hard for him. This is the hardest comedy has been for him since he's done comedy. But he got up there and he did a sketch about his son, about how, he received his ashes. And he was like, I don't know if they're really his ashes. I'll let you look at it. Tony will do the joke much more justice than I would.
How quiet everybody got? Yeah, man, I got jokes. Yeah, I got jokes, man. My son was cremated. And I'll be looking at the urn in the house, and I'll be like, he really in there? Because the place can bring any pile of dust and be like, your son. That could be Archibald Benedict in this box. How I know it's Serene in there, man? I need to know it's pure. I'm going to take it on Maury. Maury, man. See if this really my son. And they're going to be like, you are not the father of these asses. I'm going to be running from the cameraman. I want to know whose asses we got at the crib. There's no way to test.
So looking at that, it's really, hard to watch sometimes when comedians take to the stage and they share their innermost, deepest, darkest thoughts. Comedy is one of the most vulnerable jobs that can be done in the industry because there is no makeup crew to come and brush up. There's no one, to come and make sure that your lines. If you stumble, you stumble. If you miss, you miss. If it doesn't, the joke doesn't land, the joke doesn't land. Nobody's going to really come and try to clean that up for you. Sometimes they will, okay, because there's editing. But for the most part, you're standing up there. You're being judged on your appearance. You're having to stand on your feet for an hour or more. And you're really just giving people the best that you've got, the best that you've prepared, and hoping that they get what you're trying to get across to them. And that you're not being judged too harshly for that. I just look at comedians in a different light because I know it takes so much to go up there and share your heart, your joys, your highs, your lows. And so getting to Miss Pat, we see her take the stage and you'll see promo for it and it'll say nothing is off limits. From, sexual abuse to maybe child endangerment, all kinds of things she shared that she's experienced in her life. And she goes up on that stage and she talks about it, stands flat-footed and laughs about it and makes others laugh with her about it. And you can feel a little bit uncomfortable laughing with her at the pains and the struggles that she's been through. But she takes the experiences that she's been through and she gives you permission to laugh at them, right? So you feel like, I should not be finding humor in this. But she's like, if I can laugh at it, you certainly can laugh at it. This is what I've done to propel myself in the career that I've chosen. This is how I support my family. So certainly, if I'm giving you permission to laugh at it and talk about it with me, then take this journey with me. You know, laugh about what I've been through, how hard it was for my family, the drug addiction, the sexual abuse, the misuse, the heartbreak she's faced in relationships, the fact that she thought one way about the gay community and then found out that her daughter is gay. So now she has to change her thought process on that. And she still pokes fun at her daughter, but she takes that and says she can do that because she loves her daughter, but no one else can. And so she tells you where to laugh and how to laugh at the pain that she has endured in her life. And it is sometimes at some points very difficult to laugh. You see the audience even tense up and they don't really want to partake in the jokes, but she, you know, that's the reason they're there. That job is for that reason. She even, you know, kind of in a way, briefly pokes fun at women who are unable to bear children and use pets in that place. And that can be a little tough to overcome, especially for people who have experienced infertility and issues bearing children. It can be a lot. But like I said, comedy is the place where it's going to take all of that, stir it in a pot, feed it to you, and you're going to eat it up like the whole thing is good. When really there are some parts in there that are a little bit better in that recipe. There are some parts that are a little bit outside of your taste buds. But that's what the genre does, right? It comes and it gives you all that it's got and leaves it on the table, and it's up to you to eat and digest it. You can't take it back after you've eaten it, right? So even if you've eaten something that you're allergic to by watching and ingesting this comedy, you can't, you know, go back and say, I'm not going to eat that. You've already done it. So it's going to do whatever damage or whatever it does to you in that moment. And you're just going to have to take that and make sense of it, and roll with the punches. So I feel like it's worth a watch. I encourage you to watch only because like I said, I'm a comedy buff. I've watched almost every stand-up there is on Netflix and other platforms. And there are only a select few Black comedians out there. You have Gina Yashere, you have Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, and a few others. But there aren't so many on Netflix directly. And across the genres, across the other platforms, you'll find a few others in there. Some that you do know, some that you might not know as well. Tony Roberts, you know, we have Monique, we have just so many others that you can watch that come up on other platforms, but they're not always available on Netflix. So I appreciate the fact that Miss Pat was given a stand-up on Netflix. I appreciate the fact that Robert Townsend was directing it. I've said that before. I'll say it again. He's a Chicago native as well. Love Robert Townsend. Love his work. Appreciate everything that he's done in the film community. He's one of those people who's underrated and that you won't notice until he's gone off of the scene. And then he gets his flowers post-mortem, when all along he's been a genius that's been walking among us, and we should give him his notoriety, his just due. So if ever Robert Townsend is to see this, which I don't know how he would, but if he did, I'm giving you your flowers because I appreciate how much you've given not only the Black community in this Black History Month, but just, you know, the hard work that you've done and that you put forth is not going unnoticed, and we appreciate you. To Miss Pat, I'm really hoping that she takes off because she has a strong story to tell. I tried hard in this review not to give you too many spoilers, right? I don't want you to watch it and feel like you've already seen it or you've already heard every joke. I just wanted to let you know that it can be a little risque and irreverent, but it's definitely worth a watch. She's definitely worth supporting. Season 2 of her show is coming out. So let me even talk about that a bit. her show was shopped to a few different networks, and they did not know what to do with her because she's so unapologetically Black. Like, she's had to explain what edges are, why Black women lose their edges, had to explain Black family relationships, so many things that, you know, network TV doesn't consider when looking at Black TV or marketing shopping shows to the Black community, right? We have Blackish, that is very unapologetic and that teaches a lot of history and talks a lot about the Black family unit, but there is still a lot of work to be done, and I feel like Miss Pat will be groundbreaking in that area. So I encourage you, go and look up her Instagram, follow her on Instagram, follow Robert Townsend on Instagram, and look for her show to come out on BET Plus. Look for her stand-up on Netflix that's out now. It came out on yesterday, February 8th, like I said, 2022. That was his global release date, so there's no excuse. It's out in your country, your city, wherever you're from. And feel free to come back here and let me know what you thought about it. If you've already seen it, leave your comments, your respectful comments below. And I'm happy to dialogue with you. I've never been a stranger to the comment section. So if you leave a comment on this video, I definitely will respond to you. And I'm looking forward to talking to you guys more about stand-up, about the community, the comedy community on the whole, what it brings to the table, what it needs to do differently, how it can even go a little bit further. And I look forward to speaking to you guys about that soon. And please, by all means, subscribe to my channel, the Chicago Bravo channel on YouTube. Go and follow me at Chicago_Bravo on Instagram and Chicago Bravo at Facebook. All right, guys, that'll be all for me. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.